You guys acquainted yourself with Seamus after him being gone for a couple of weeks. Heads down in the Guild of Knowledge, doing a load of research on what turned out to be the patterns of lichens in the world. Discovering they have what a few have discovered to be a seasonal shift and migratory pattern with them is actually due to the rotation of their alpha. The one of the members of the crew from I'm drawing a blank on the ship name. The Wallbreaker ship that you guys found with the chaos energy. Him being changed and transformed was the beginning of the lichens in this world. And his mother has been hunting him down ever since. And Seamus found out that it's not due to season, it's due to proximity to him. He asked you guys to, after you guys asked him to help pull off a heist up in Aurora's Rest, he asked you if you would be able to help him on a hunt to get off and go try to take down that alpha, because it might help Nora come back to her senses. You finished a bit of a debrief in the hall on what happened in Aurora's Rest, and Margot, after a bit of rest herself, got to do her evaluation fight, in which she was remarkably dangerous, putting her evaluer on his ass very quickly. And lastly, Seamus began his trial with an odd pattern bird, like dancing around and moving and rolling a natural 20 on its performance check to distract, while it subtly cast Hex and an immediately followed up not Firebolt, Scorching Ray at Seamus, as it mockingly kind of tilts its head and says, "The test's already begun," as its features begin to meld away, the beak and the feathers both receding and pulling back and fading into red and black and metal, as the bird changes into an image of a woman decked out in metals and chains and belts. And she's kind of looking at you with a little bit of a glinty flame behind her eyes. And the natural 20 let her get the surprise round in, and Seamus, I need you to roll initiative, please. Ooh, I rolled great.
I didn't roll a lot better, but I have a +7.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so Seamus, you are up first, sir.
Yeah, as a bonus action, to click to my features, it's going to load. I'm going to summons a Hound of Ill Omen, and out of the shadows will crawl this dark beast.
There we go. Got the good old boy back on the screen.
And then the
Nice.
I think he rolls his own initiative, but he can just go after me, whatever he'd like.
Yeah, that'll be fine. I mean, with 3 combatants on the stage, it's next to each other, regardless of where it happens.
As my action, I'm going to cast Blight.
Okay, gotcha. And that's a wisdom save on her.
Yeah, at disadvantage because the hound is within 5 feet.
Oh, it's a Constitution save. I was thinking Bane.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that'll be a 15.
Yeah, that failed.
This is gonna hurt. Ooh, boy. Okay. 45! I think this is the first... Is this the first time Seamus has cast Bane or Blight?
It is, yeah.
Alright, what does Seamus's Blight look like?
Yeah, I assume just like his eyes go dark and his like the tips of his fingers also turn black as this corrosive black just starts to cover her body and eat away at her.
Alright. Yeah, and just like black cracks and decay start to follow all up. Ah! You see her kind of breathe in, and some of that blackened energy seems to like suck into her body a little bit. And she opens her mouth and is going to like do a breath flavored hellish rebuke at you.
I'm gonna bite at you first with my hound.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I guess you could hellish rebuke first. You're right.
Yeah, this would happen first because it's a reaction.
Yeah.
Where's that spell? Seriously, where's that spell? There we go. Okay, so damage.
$13.
Okay, dex save is going to be...
That was from the hound. Might be a higher... No, it's the same.
Okay, gotcha.
No, it's a save. No, it's a plus 4 to that. Is a plus 6 to my dex save.
Okay, so what'd you get? Okay, so that'll be
17.
17 will save. Yeah, no problem there. So you'll take half damage. Yep. So that would be 17 points of fire damage coming back towards you. Then
I'm going to use my reaction
to rogue BS and take nothing.
No, to absorb elements.
Hmm. All right.
7 damage.
That'll reduce it down to 8 damage.
8.
Mm-hmm. And you have, you can have like a bit of a glowy flame, like in your scabbard or however you like it, because you get to
Sounds good.
return it if you like. Or you get to return about like 1d6, I think it is. Okay.
And then, yeah, the hound made an attack at 17.
That will hit. Okay, 11 points. All right, nice.
That was a lot in one turn.
Yeah, yes it was. Okay here. Oh, and you were hexed, so when she hits you, where is it? You take an extra d6 of necrotic as well. So that'll be an extra 6. And that part you cannot absorb, because absorb elements does not work on necrotic. Okay. Just gonna kind of look at you, like, and here I thought we'd be playing a different game. I suppose if we're going for... And you see her hand start to glow black, and there's a little blackened halo that shows up, and she lays it on the side and twists it. We'll go with big things too. And she's going to cast her spell. And some of you have already seen this spell this week, but this one looks a little bit more refined and on purpose. And she's going to cast Circle of Death. Okay. That was from the Hound, so the Hound fails, but let's get one from Seamus as well.
Keep having him selected.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Seamus will save.
Ooh.
I don't think that was particularly good. It was average.
There's a couple of sixes in it.
Yep. So Seamus, and then you get an extra d6 for... And that'll be a 6 again. So Seamus, 23 points to you, and 34 to your Hound. And... And she's going to use her bonus action to kind of stand in place, and she kind of like starts dancing around, and like her body starts jingling, and then she kind of like puts her hand towards you, and you immediately give me a charisma saving throw. A 17. Okay, that'll do it. You feel like this strange compulsion to like back up and run away, and you're able to like just shake through it and push it off. Like, oh, you're a little willful, aren't you, lad? And
time to time.
Just my time. And she's like just kind of waiting to see what you're going to do next. And it is back over to you.
I am going to use... Oh, I can't find it. In my Eyes of the Dark feature here to cast darkness on my rapier.
Nice. What's the range on that? Is it 15 feet?
20, I thought.
Yeah, that looks right.
Ah, got it. All right, dark.
Move north a little bit.
Okay. It's been a while. How do I move this? Oh, good, I remembered.
I'll use my bonus action to hide.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, 28 stealth.
Yeah.
And then the hound will take a bite again, maybe.
Does the height rely on his vision?
Does the what?
Does the hound rely on his vision?
No, because the hound. Let's see. At the start of its turn, the hound automatically knows where its target's location. If it was hidden, it's no longer hidden from the hound.
Okay, perfect. Nice and easy. Magical homing missile dog.
24 to hit, I assume.
Okay, yes, that will be a hit. Okay, another 11 points. Did I already take it off? I think it did. Okay. Alrighty.
And that's it for me.
Okay. All right, she's gonna like as the dog bites her and kind of like pulls back. She's gonna reach down and like grab its muzzle. She's gonna say, "Let's see here." Oh man. Old spell, one moment. All the spells are old. Can't wait for the monster manual. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay. She's gonna move down and she's gonna grab the puppy's face and like, be a good boy and go sit over there. And she's going to cast suggestion on the puppy.
Nice. Con.
So puppy needs to make a wisdom save.
No.
Okay, no go. So the target must make a wisdom saving throw. You described to the best of its ability. Okay. I'm guessing this would just be on its turn. It's not the type that makes it use its reaction. And Seamus, you feel the hex on you fade away. And with that, she's going to run away a bit. 5, 10, 20, 25, 30. Okay, your turn, Seamus.
Is this the start of round 4?
This would be This would be round 3. Because you did Blight, she did Circle of Death, you did Darkness, she did Suggestion.
Got it. And it was a surprise round before.
Yeah, correct.
I'll move over here next to her. My Circle of Darkness will hopefully come along with. I am going to. Uh, yeah, I'm going to attack her with my rapier.
Okay, go for it.
Oh no.
Okay. That is not accurate. She has mage armor on. So as you strike forward with your rapier, you are surprised that she brings her. She's got a long sword and a short sword that she pulls out from behind her back, and like kind of catches the tip of your blade, even in the middle of the darkness. And you look up at her, and those little lights in her eyes. You look good in the dark.
I didn't realize this was a date. And then I'm going to, as a bonus action, drink a potion of greater healing.
Okay, nice. Nice. Okay. Why not? We're having fun, aren't we? And she's going to jump up. You are welcome to take an attack of opportunity here.
I will do that.
Okay. Oh. All right. Go for it. What's the advantage? Oh, it didn't. Is it because she's blinded, hypothetically?
Yeah, she's blinded.
Yeah. She rolled the 20 with the first dice, so it doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like 16 damage, and then I'm also going to add my sneak attack.
Okay, you would not have the sneak attack because you don't have the advantage, so.
Except for I'm a swashbuckler, and as long as I'm in a single duel, then I do.
Awesome.
Another 7 damage.
Yikes. Okay. Oh, yeah. What? Oh, okay. Concentration check. Yeah, that's not enough. Puppy's suggestion drops. And
Nice.
Puppy is viable once again.
I did move him out of the way, though. He would have moved on my turn.
Sweet. So you go ahead and stab her, like, as she jumps, like, you stab her, like, deeply through the thigh. And you feel it, like, glide around, like, her femur and, like, poke out the other side. And she's still gonna go. She's casting Levitate on herself, and she's going to rise up, however far that does. She's 20 feet in the air.
Sounds good.
Okay. And give me a dexterity saving throw. For multiple reasons. One, she's using Hellish Rebuke. Two, on your reaction, but also for the natural 20, she reaches back and she like starts to pull out like a couple of potions, and she drops one of them. Let's see if you can snag it out of the air. Nice.
I have advantage on Dex because of my armor.
Woohoo. Okay. This is her Hellish Rebuke.
Oh, that was a hound. Damn. Sorry.
You just like to have the good old boy attached all the time.
I just have him select. That's
Okay, both of them absolutely stellar. You dodge out of the way. You will take you will take 11 points of fire damage from Hellish Rebuke. Your reaction is already burned, so no absorbed elements this time. And you do drop. She drops, and you grab successfully a regular potion of healing as she grabs a couple out of her pack.
But my darkness drops.
And there we go. It's gone. Okay. And she's going to go up into the air 20 feet. She's going to pop her healing potion as well. And it is your turn, sir. So, click, your go.
I'm gonna cast Blight on her.
Okay. This is so nerve-wracking. I can't see it because it keeps rolling off the screen. Okay, so that'll be a 21 to hit, or to save.
Yeah, that saves.
Okay. She sees it coming, and you see her like burn internally, like just extra fire energy, like comes like kind of like pushes back the spell as it tries to like reach her. She's able to push it away. Dizzying.
I think she still takes half damage, doesn't she?
I'm not sure on Blight.
Yeah, half on the failed save.
Okay, gotcha. So, yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be 23, which she does not have. And she's going to fall unconscious and drop to the ground.
5 swarms of bats enter into the arena.
All right.
Oh.
How would you like to use these bats in this moment?
They're gonna start to eat her body.
Okay. You hear from like an intercom, please don't actually kill her. She's still useful.
Stand down, bats.
I did make sure that I still had bat swarms though. Yeah, and there's a... Ooh, actually, this is a great time. Wasn't thinking about this. Wait, where'd they go?
It took him forever to get here, but...
Is this the second time? Because didn't Seamus do this against the fight with the monks?
Yeah.
They came like near the end.
I have to like roll a 1d4 to see like how many rounds it takes for them to show up, and both times I've thrown a 4, so it always like it's like, well, this is gonna be a drag out fight, I hope.
My token is wrong, but okay, out from the kind of elevator that you came down, you see a new person who you have not had eyes on before. I had their token size wrong. You see like this big old like body like kind of curl under the door. I know she's a pain in the ass, but she's still part of our group. she's still quite effective on missions too. Please allow me to resuscitate her if you don't mind too much. And you
He
see
gives
this.
me Baymax vibes.
That was not the intention, but I see the parallel, and that is awesome. If Baymax was a little grittier and slightly violent, yes. And you see this person come over, and like from their pouch, you see them kind of like pop open the top and like pull out a couple of syringes that look like railroad spikes almost. Comes over and like puts a couple of them into the body, and then like takes this like flat, broad, short sword and like smacks them into the body, and like it cracked, and like essentially a couple of healing potions are admitted. And the girl gets a bit of health and is able to wake up. Well, that was fun. Can we do it again? And he like kind of reaches over and like grabs her by the head and like throws her over the shoulder. You can talk about that when you're done resting. Come along. Nice to meet you. The name's Third.
Pleasure was all mine.
I'm sure it was. And like goes and like tucks back under and buggers away. This was a fun character to make. I wanted to make a healer that was not magical. That this person has no magic to them. And they are so cool, and I want to use them in the upcoming fights. You hear Ingen over the intercom. Mr. Black, nicely done. Your tactics and ruthlessness are top tier. Let's get you back inside. Y'all can have a moment to discuss. Seamus, you just like floats with the bats like up to the window. Because that's totally what that looked like.
Exactly.
And then he
they'll pick
runs
up
into
the-
the glass. Like Cressida did.
Alrighty. Yeah. Alright. After this point, it all kind of becomes a bit of a routine on things, where I'm opening the wrong program. After a few hours, the results are back. Margot's ranking of wing stays. And Seamus is ranked at scale. What is the intention of the group? What are you guys wanting at this time? As these last couple of formalities are taken care of, the overall direction of this chapter is decided. The collection of chapters, the book, is still needs to happen, but it is sounding like that's going to be a longer process. But Gesimus and his tower already are in preparations for making their move as an independent entity, and they are just trying to see if they can gather anybody else to join them in this short run. and hopefully planting seeds for the long run.
So, I forgot about wizards having arcane recovery. So Cressida can do one more teleportation circle today, and that means we
Okay.
can do actually. I don't know how many because it's not loading, but oh, I just got completely booted off of Forge. But she can do
Congrats.
one more teleportation circle today, which
Okay.
brings us to a certain number more per day. Oh no, it's loaded.
Mhm.
Oh, I was completely signed out. Okay. What is it? An Arcana check? I can roll it.
Yes.
On my
Yeah, we the way we're doing this is you're rolling Arcana checks in order to be stealthy in your testing of them and to
25.
Okay, gotcha. Where is this location that you are looking for?
I think she's just gonna start working through the 24, so she's gonna be Albiadala's tower
Mhm.
next, because she knows Albiadala is here.
Okay, gotcha. And that's right. Rolling. Ooh, okay. 1 point off on my D100. You get a response this time.
Okay.
Still active.
For now.
That's the first one you found.
She would also ask to study the chapters teleportation circle so that she can get everyone back here when needed.
Mhm. Okay, gotcha. Let's see here. We're about to go split up into a bunch of different spaces, so I'm just going to return to a bit of a default view here for now. Okay, so Margot, or excuse me, Cressida is doing magic research both for what is still active in Aurora's Rest, what is not, and making sure that they can understand the return signals for here. Okay. Let's go on that subject. Anybody else on the subject of magic-y things during this kind of waiting period before you hear the sounds of progress and you get to start moving?
Lunith will join in the teleportation circles and summoning and whatnot.
Okay.
I would like to teach people the graph closure at some point if we find a way to teach them that.
Gotcha. Let's start with the teleportation portion. So I'd like a performance check from Cressida and an Arcana check from Lunith.
Can I ask why is performance?
Teaching is definitely performance.
Okay, teaching, yeah.
14 for Lunith.
A PhD student trying to teach a teenager, an undead teenager, magic. 14.
14s. Okay. Typically the rules state that when a skill check is a match, it remains as whatever the status quo was previously. So ergo, Lunith is not learning much yet. Probably most of this is still going over her head. And so she's probably not completely lost, but like there's a few key points that are missing. Cressida, what's your insight?
+6. So 16
6.
is her passive insight.
16, that's pretty good. Kind of like after this session and like, I'd say you're able to like kind of like go through this and you kind of look over and you're like, like you probably recognize she's missing a few fundamental building blocks. Like she's trying to keep up and she's doing a decent job, but there's still that look of like a little bit like spacey confusion, like something baseline is absent. No, I guess I'll take off the battle music now. That's probably not necessary at the moment. Okay. Margot. At some point you get your, or what do you do kind of like after the conference ends, after the trials end? No. Where do you go?
I think Margot would try to find somewhere to be. She would try to isolate herself because she's scared of her wild magic right now and she doesn't want to hurt the party. I don't know if the party would let her isolate herself, but she would try to isolate herself.
You have a hospital room that you can return to. And it's a big place. Even one chapter is enormous. It's like several skyscrapers. Like it's actually like half a city smashed all into like one building.
She would see. I'd take that back. She would search out Koilak because Koilak told her. Don't say that.
Okay, gotcha. You are able to track him down. He's a pretty noticeable figure because he's such an odd guy. And eventually you are able to like pinpoint essentially his magic lab. And as you walk in, you're used to this kind of like angular, high-tech scenery here. And as soon as you walk in, you feel like you walked into a jungle instead of a new room. There are immediately the sounds of insects and the chirps of birds, the screeches of what is possibly some sort of primate. And you hear the sounds of bubbling. Everything in here is like head to toe, even like the ground, which looks like it's probably originally like supposed to be like a stone tile or a metallic tile, is covered in moss. Like the stone and the hard part's still there, but it's definitely different. And it's very, very humid. And as you look around, there's kind of like almost like a dai, like a curving set of fuzzy stairs that you go up, and the room is very large. It's probably like about the size of half a football field or so. And there's several different pools, kind of different colors. Like one's kind of a turquoise, almost greenish. One is a bit of a yellow. One kind of has this orange and brown hue to it. And you look around, and there's actually, give me a perception check here.
That's the wrong character. That's about right.
15? Decent. Okay, you look around and your eyes start to adjust. The room is very dark. It's not completely dark, but there's like glows and there are lights, but they're blocked by a bit of a canopy and like even like mist in the air. It takes a moment for your eyes to adjust, but you start to see movement in the branches of trees and fronds and vines up in here, and you see creature after creature after creature, just odd, tiny little critters that you've never seen before. Something with like eyes almost as large as their skull, with ears that are so floppy that they fully like encase it and has to like pull its ear over just so it can see before it like moves and like skitters back up the tree. And something like a dog fused with some sort of like Komodo dragon, where it starts off furry and it becomes scales for its hind legs, and kind of looks at you and halfway hisses, halfway barks, and then like pulls back into the shadows, Homer Simpson style. And the whole place is an oddity. You see bubbles coming out of one of those pools. There are give me an Arcana check or a straight intelligence check or an investigation check to kind of see if you could like understand the functions of this room.
Ron is the best. Oh,
Arcana. Okay.
15.
You see there's odd little machines everywhere, but they're clearly modified. They're not complete, like it's a fusion of several things. He's working with science, technology, and biology all simultaneously here. Beyond that, you're not entirely sure, but yeah, for that. You've heard of this. You've never seen this before. You're beginning to deduce that Korlak is a biomancer. And there is, so in those three different pools, the kind of closest one to you, that yellowish one, has bubbles coming up from it while the other two sit still.
I mean, I'll just keep looking around. I don't want to touch anything.
Do you announce yourself or anything like that?
I don't think she would. I think she would just be looking around for it because she hasn't spoken to anybody in like so long, other than her brother. She doesn't even think like, "Hey, you should shout or tell anybody you're there." She doesn't think that.
Her social cues are a little damaged at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha. What would, in this kind of scene of like odd creatures, strange technology, there are tools and implements and things that look like they're being made for alchemy purposes, all sorts of, oh, that's just rude. You guys ever seen the Super Saiyan fusion shirt for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's brutal. You made Q break.
I just saw it. Oh,
Eduardo. What would be kind of like the thing that draws her attention the most in this place? Like, God, think like mad scientist's magic lab.
I don't think there's any one thing in particular. I think she's just trying to take it all in, just study her surroundings and understand her surroundings. While she's interested in the magic, she's still in her like fight and flight mode, so she's also studying like the quickest way to exit, places to hide, things like that.
Gotcha. After about 2 or 3 minutes of wandering around, you hear from like behind you. And you turn around and you already see Koilak with his hands raised.
I won't attack you.
I saw your demeanor during the conference. You seemed on edge, so I figured I would start this off as peacefully as possible. And like he's inside of the pool. Like all you can see is like the top of his shoulders and up.
I I believe I may have lost my people skills over the years.
Seems likely. Not that I had it much to begin with myself. In front, like as he like kind of rises out of the pool, he reaches his arm out and there's like a cloth that kind of crawls across the floor and like wraps around him like a towel before like he exposes himself. And like he finishes getting up and the water runs like in beads very smoothly, doesn't soak into whatever it is he just covered himself with.
Is it safe to speak here? I've noticed magic everywhere.
Oh, yes, there is magic everywhere. This is my space. I knew you had arrived. I just wasn't quite done with my soak yet. So I let you in. Nobody knows what's in here except for me, unless I want them to. I have quite a few anti-divinations seals in here. And he points up, and he points to a few different locations, and each one of them you see essentially like it's about the size of like a lime, and it's attached to the wall, and you kind of scurry across the wall and like turn, and it's like this white puffball with little like almost long like white noodly legs, and just there's several of them like way up on the walls, and you can see a couple of them just
Okay. What you mentioned before about that spell, I have concerns.
I have concerns.
If I can teach closing the graph to others, could they simply not reverse engineer it as I have? Would me teaching that spell not accomplish the same thing you warned me of?
Anything is possible. Research takes time. The spell you've described seems incredibly complicated on its own, and then to have to reverse engineer it seems unlikely for the time being. Eventually, yes, time solves all riddles. But to say that you can do it now when nobody else is even close, I believe that would be painting a very large target on your back.
But how do we know nobody can do it? How do we know Fire is not doing it now? This seems calculated, not like they just happened upon all of the perfectly placed strategic drafts to attack simultaneously. If we're in an arms race.
That's very fair. My best understanding, based on limited information that we are getting in small pockets from those who came from Aurora's Rest, is that they have a way to sense ones that they can particularly control. I believe they've had agents in major areas for quite some time. And They were waiting for something to tip the scales. And now
But the
that's what's good at.
Dragonborn,
Proceed, please.
the Dragonborn was expanding it.
Ah, yes. Expanding it is like, imagine an impenetrable wall. Being able to poke your finger through it is one task. But if there was already a hole there, being able to stretch or expand that hole would be several degrees easier. The analogy kind of breaks down because that's not really how fingers work. But once something is already in motion, it is easier to redirect it or modify it rather than starting it from nothing. Magic, just like mass, does have a certain inertia.
The people in that room, how many do you think believed that when we diverted the conversation? Could already be out that I know how to open grats.
Never have I ever wished for someone to be able to cast the spell for Gift of Gab other than that moment. And believe me, I've put my foot in my mouth many a time. My explanation of a feasible reason why not was scientifically sound and is entirely possible. Ergo, I believe it will hold some of those curiosities at bay. There were simply too many minds in that room for it not to go unnoticed. Or for it to go unnoticed. A couple in particular give me pause.
Who should I be watching my background?
Certainly Black Moon. Seems like the type of guy who never found an opportunity he didn't want to exploit. Give me an insight checker.
Oh wait, I have inspiration. I don't know what I have inspiration from, but I have inspiration.
Nice.
Oh, thank God. That's so much better.
Oh, that is much better. Versus my check.
God, I miss my clockwork abilities.
Oh, wow. Interesting dice roll. I don't have much to go on from those from Rose Rest, but I know that they're hurting. I know that they're angry. That in this time, telling them not to use a particular type of weapon would fall mostly on dead ears. And while I do adore my chapter brethren and sisterin, what's the female word for brethren? And then he changes, and he comes back like he never said that in the first place. I don't know the history of all of them. I don't know the motivations of all of them. Optimistically speaking, we may have convinced about 85% of the people in that room. Pessimistically, 60.
Do you... As a Kalashtar, my mind has greater fortitude than most, but it is not. There are ways, there are devices, items that can shield your mind from prying, which may be of use if any seek certain knowledge. And I was wondering if you had access to such items.
Certainly. You can see from that insight check a moment ago, you can see something in him is like concerned. You don't know this guy's race. You barely know him as a person. But you get the sense that something is there. Something else that he's not saying, but you can't read what it is.
Okay.
I am both a magician and a scientist. I believe in the laws of equivalent exchange. In this case, you not getting mind probed is plenty of exchange. He's going to reach his hand out to a branch, and from the branch, kind of like, you see something like a snake, kind of like, it's like this bluish snake with like kind of a purple sheen to it. It's going to like crawl into his hand, but as it comes down, you notice that there's no head. It's like two tips of snake tails. And it rolls around in his hand a little bit and becomes rigid in a ring-like shape. And from kind of about the center point, a brain begins to crest through the scales. And the entire thing is about that big, ring size. He hands it over to you.
As he hands it over, she's going to just like lock eyes with him and say, "What more should I fear? Is it my magic? Is it how I came back? What is wrong? Please, I have only been back for not even 24 hours. I need to know what I face in this world."
Give me a persuasion check.
Fucking hell. 16?
16. Patterns. You should fear patterns. Many like to think of this world as chaos and randomity, spewing forth whatever it wants to at whatever time. And like he's kind of like looking off, and then his eyes immediately like lock onto yours hard, like, you know, it's not all random. There are movements and patterns. Something is falling into place, setting the stage. You see him twitch and in pain. Apologies.
Um, if I have to hide that magic, how will I fight the quarry on the dream plane if I cannot bring a force to fight them? What is your suggestion in that battle?
Tell me about this spell.
Can I insight check? And I want to see if that shift was like eager greed, like I'm gonna get to learn this spell and no one else will, or if it's genuine concern.
Mhm.
22.
Okay. You see the greed of a wizard about to learn something new. You see a book nerd with insatiable curiosity. But the primary read is, I don't know how to help you unless I know what it does.
I think gonna she's just gonna look at him and say, well, first, I'm going to need some very expensive diamonds. At least 5,000 gold per piece.
My, pricey.
I did tell you that this is. You know this is a unique spell.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, magic comes at a cost.
Simply an observation, not a judgment.
Need a couple. In case it needs to be cast more than once in battle.
We maybe will be able to accommodate. Now, what? Now, what have you done with it so far? How did you learn it? What is its intention? What does it feel like to you? He starts like rattling all of these questions off.
Should I say Hasport used a wish spell to implant the knowledge of this magic in my mind. It was his last use of that particular magic.
Fascinating, tragic. Does he still have it?
I do not know if he is still alive. And I don't know if he copied it into my mind or if he gave up the knowledge of it to me. Last I saw, he was casting disintegration on me.
Why would he do that after giving you such a precious gift? Perhaps to keep from. Perhaps he did it to make you do it. So you became the scapegoat, and then
because
he disintegrated you so that you wouldn't be able to tell anybody afterwards.
he did it because I asked him to. I gave him the scroll of disintegration because my patron was taking over me and threatened the safety of Aurora's rest.
Ah. The tree?
Yes.
Heard something
He
about a tree.
devoured magic
useful.
Did.
Fair. And what did you do?
The spell. It felt like it was tearing me apart. It took every ounce of energy and magic I had within me and forced it onto this graft like a flamethrower tearing down a forest. But the process was slow. I don't think I have enough concentrated energy in me yet. I will one day, I'm sure, but right now, it took time.
Ah. So, part of what your concern is, you've lost the stability of your magic. You have wild magic now.
And the longer I use that much power, the more dangerous it is for those around me.
So, you have a flamethrower with a linky tank.
At description.
Hmm. So, is that part of the reason you want to hand it off? Because you are afraid of your capability of wielding it?
No. I want to share it because I am a tactician. I am a soldier. And a singular point of failure in war could doom an entire campaign. That's why you need backups, alternates, contingencies, emergencies. One person cannot be the backbone on which you set your hopes. I recognize that.
Quite right. Same goes for experimentation. Something has a high rate of failure. You replicate the project until you get the success you are looking for. The spell closed a graft. It sounds like it attacked the fundamental energies that were connecting our dear bastard planet to this particular location that happens to be attuned to fire.
It's not the only way to close a graft, though. I closed the graft before without this spell.
And that portion has been accomplished by many before. However, saying many on a planet this size, even if 1,000 people have done it across the world throughout our history, it's still not very many. But this sounds like it was specifically designed to do so, rather than throwing magical energies at a wall and see what sticks and trying to force it closed. Margot, give me an Arcana check.
God fucking damn it. I hate these dice so much.
That was almost a
I'd roll
19.
physical from now on. This is ridiculous.
Go ahead and do that at advantage because he's giving you the help action. He's trying to guide you mentally through how to think about this. Wow.
There's no way I rolled 2 3s.
And both of them were almost 19s.
She's been back in this world for less than 24 hours. Give her a break.
She's a little hungover from, death.
Yep.
Death hangovers are the worst.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what you are currently describing sounds difficult to pull off. To take a spell that is that powerful, a top tier level spell, possibly one of the strongest spells in the world, and make it more flexible, more adaptable, to be able to create a graft from nothing. Are there other ways you wish to manipulate a graft?
What if instead of opening it, instead of showing that I have that power, what if we redirected it? A graft set on a fire plane was redirected to another plane. It's not opening it necessarily, but it is. It could turn the tide of battle. For example, if we had allies on the water plane or the air plane ready and waiting, we could redirect one of their crafts and call forth an army.
Hypothetically feasible. Imagine a hose, and he kind of like references like back to like one of his pods, and inside of it you see what is like looks almost like a lily pad, and underneath it there is seems to be attached to like the body of a frog that has like 4 sets of limbs. It occasionally like twitches and like jumps up and floats and sinks down a little bit and then does it again, kind of like maintaining its buoyancy as much as it can. And he references one of the hoses over there. Imagine a hose connecting to that particular pod, and then you turn the fluid on. Now imagine putting your hand up to it and stopping it, and squeezing that hose with enough pressure that it stops completely. Messy prospect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Difficult prospect. The energies want to leak through. Now imagine, and he points to the pod next to it, and this one doesn't, it has these like kind of silvery white discs that are like layered in like just this rotating column. They never seem to stop moving. With a quick like look, you see little like brownish orange specks like kind of leaping between all those platforms, almost like dust dancing between them. Now imagine that hose trying to connect to this one, and instead we slap it out of the way and plug it into this one. Ease of the process, the amount that would be wasted and spilled over would potentially be lower. That could reduce the intensity necessary for the spell. You'd still be opening up a hole into another location that you have no control over. Unless you had some very specific research done and knew the exact coordinates magically and speaking between the planes. But seeming as Aeon's spheres are essentially locked in, that seems unlikely. We have very little understanding of any of the outside planes. Is that every version you've thought of? Is there any other ways that you would like to go?
The quarry. Before they were doing whatever they are doing now, assimilating. There were a few who were. They were somehow seeping through the cracks into grafts not connected to the dream plane. One nearly escaped in Ripple Downs. Rippletop. I don't know how they're connecting to the graft, but
I don't have an answer yet either. But perhaps if you told me more about them, what you know. Allow me to be candid with you, Miss Verad. You represent a whole new facet of magical potential. And I completely recognize that potential is entirely neutral at the moment. Neutral sounds benign, but neutral can become devastating. It could be that the history books will look back and blame me for not murdering you right here in my lab. Alternatively, you could be the savior that changes the state of the world.
what if I don't want any of that?
And what would you prefer?
I think she just looks so tired after like years in the dream plane and then just losing her brother. She's just so exhausted than hearing like what he just said about her future. She just looks exhausted.
He kind of points over and kind of gestures, and there's a series of leaves that kind of like that converge and kind of create a bit of like a chair that come up and like kind of just like gently like hit the back of your knees. And it's obviously an invitation to sit.
Yeah, she just kind of collapses into the chair. And she just says, I just am so tired of fighting. It's been my whole life and I just want a break.
There is so much to do with the current state of affairs. And you are not responsible for any of it. You do not have the power to gather and command and ship out. I don't even believe that you have the power to teach at the moment. I believe you are too he's for such a nerdy dude, he's like trying to be gentle here. And he kind of gives up. You seem fractured. Hmm. There is nothing wrong with that. There are some things that a fractured person can do that a whole person cannot, and the reverse is also true. But while everyone else is busy getting ready for war, you are welcome to stay here with me. Come and go as you please. And we can study what you have. We may also do so on the move, depending on how fast we ship out.
Okay. I can do that.
Would you like a rest in the pool?
No, I think I should go find my companions.
If you change your mind, it's quite nice.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I will be back.
Yes.
She's gonna go. I think she's gonna just go look for Joe and Yaslin.
Okay. All right. Our less magic-y folk, what are y'all up to? You guys are in this kind of odd limbo. You have an immediate decision. There are people assembling a small war party. How much do you want to be involved in that? How much are you just waiting for your orders and letting somebody else take the reins for once? Actually, hold that thought. Let's go ahead and take our break here. Then we'll come back at the about 25-minute mark, and we'll wrap up and see what you guys are deciding at this point. Alrighty. So we're essentially in kind of this 3-day period where the group is seeing things mobilize around this chapter. You guys are involved in different strategy meetings here and there, sharing of information, how best to fight fire, how did you guys survive? What have you seen from them so far? You are able to divulge that information kind of along the way here. And so you've got this window of time. I want to know what everybody's kind of doing in that time frame. So we already covered Margot, Seamus, how about you? You're kind of brought to this new space, and you're kind of immediately brought into a war effort where it's your job to utilize the distraction of the war party to go pull off a heist in the middle of what used to be Ally territory and now is enemy territory.
Well, I think after the fight, I would be sleeping on the ceiling somewhere, because I definitely got pretty beat up. And then outside of that, I would be like just strategizing with the soldiers for how we're going to get in, see if we can get any blueprints of the building or anything, so we kind of have like an entrance and an exit strategy. If things go south, how do we split up and find each other again, or kind of just talking tactics and strategy.
You are able to kind of set up some rudimentary communication systems. You all have stones of sending provided to you that you can all connect with each other. The strategy begins to form around Cressida's discovery of Albiadala's teleportation circle still working. And Albiadala does begin to kind of draw out a map of like what her tower looks like. This is where you will be when you get in there, and like this is how you can go, or like the directions you can go, and like general side streets and whatnot. And basically, like she gives as detailed of a map as possible for how to get from her location over to Hasport's. So you are able to gather up a good amount of detail about what to expect.
Sounds good.
Okay. How about for Protector and Lunith?
Lunith is going to be sticking with Cressida and just working on trying to learn the teleportation circles, or at least understand them well enough that if something bad were to happen to Cressida, she'd be able to at least attempt to bring everyone back home.
A so-so backup.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I remember what it looked like because I'm used to drawing like big pentagrammy circle things. So, all right.
Okay.
And then Protector is going to do two things. First thing is he will show everyone around the ship who wants to know their way around the ship. Additionally, he'll show them the rooms that they are allowed to stay in. I can point that out on the map if everyone is interested, or if not, we can just, continue on.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely welcome to like go back and forth between the hangar and like treat the ship as your house if that is preferred. But just because not everybody's seen the shiny. Is this the right one? Yeah, that looks right. So Troy gonna pop in the Gale for you.
The wizard?
Let me see here, and then okay. Warden, your particular strategy meetings are mostly surrounding transportation and logistical movement of troops and supplies.
Makes sense.
They are utilizing you and everybody else that they can get their hands on that is a willing pilot to help them go back and forth.
Yeah, he would definitely, or he's going to definitely offer that up since he already offered it up during the meeting, and will join in on those strategy plans. When he does have free time over the course of those 3 days, he will seek out Yaslin. Whether or not she's with Dro, he doesn't really care.
Okay.
But if there's a time that our paths cross, he's interested in a chat.
We'll get to that in a moment, and I'm about to make one of you cringe with a single word. Yaslin.
No.
I've been waiting for this.
There's a bit of like a game of like cat and mouse with like Yaslin is avoiding the other two Tallney. And eventually they start taking it kind of seriously.
It's like when Yaslin wants to hide, she's really good.
Yeah. And eventually you are essentially called into yet another strategy meeting, probably your third or fourth one.
Okay.
And then somebody like an attendant like opens up the door for you and like immediately shuts it.
What? What the fuck? Excuse me? Like looks behind her like, what the heck?
It's
Oh.
about time you stopped running, kitty cat.
Speak for yourself.
You know you can't avoid us forever. So, in this order, sit, spill. Start at the beginning. Why did the old man send us up here to drag your ass back home?
She sits down. She sits down so fast. Oh gosh, I don't know even where to start.
At the beginning.
Of everything? Well, like freaking looks so stressed. Well, you already know why my grandfather sent me out, I assume. Maybe you don't. I lost control of the Chimera.
Lily, can you put your mic a little bit closer to
Oh,
your face,
hello?
please?
Hello? Hello?
Better, thank you.
Alright. Alright. She doesn't even look them in the eyes, and she like, I lost control of the Chimera. And then I was traveling with my friends, and we got on the ship, and something attached itself to me. I thought
One
that
moment. I'm trying to find that sheet that we use together, and it's missing.
which one?
The language one.
Oh, the lexicon.
Yeah. Do you have that link? Because I am. It is absent for me. Oh, there we go. Let's try it. Okay. This is super weird. Don't know why that didn't show up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I thought it was fine. But it's like it started stealing energy from the Chimera. It was killing it or something.
You let an outside force steal your soul.
No. I don't know how it got there.
I believe we're missing many details, which could be paramount to this conversation.
I was losing control. My Chimera was losing a battle. And I made a decision that I'm pretty sure put a lot of us at risk.
Sanse Nestrunai. You have to tame the beast within.
How am I
Why is that
supposed
so difficult for you to understand? It's not a matter
This-
of you and it, you are the same.
This didn't come with some like instruction manual. You guys say, you know, do this, feel that. It's not that simple. And I don't even know if I can anymore. The Chimera, it's something's happened. I don't know. My bond to it is been damaged or torn somehow, and I don't even know what's happening.
The Zindal is fractured.
From what I can tell, yes.
The two of them look at each other.
I shouldn't be alive.
That shouldn't be possible. Either the bond is strong or you die. Once connected, Teldal and Mazdal cannot be separated. What did you encounter?
I don't know exactly. This creature that got inside me is. They call themselves Cax. They didn't come from this plane.
Give me a quick history check.
I don't remember if I.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know the name
No worries.
Cax, and that is about it.
Mhm.
12.
Okay,
And
12. Yeah,
it's-
solid. It's low DC because it was very much so happening right in front of your mind.
Yeah.
Cax said she was the first and that she was the beginning of her brood.
She said she was the first, and something about a brood, but
She spoke to you? Inside of your chimera? Inside of you?
yeah. I try. I didn't know what else to do because things were not as they should have been, and I thought maybe I could do something.
Which you know is a very profane curse
Sounds like,
in Tawny.
oh,
And he gets like, and Rollick gets right up in your face. It like pokes you in the forehead.
ah!
As someone who has no brains at all, how is it that you are able to hold so many minds inside of yourself?
I don't freaking know. It's complicated, okay?
Why, you who has no idea how to control yourself, get saddled with 4, and now 5.
Technically, back to 4. I think they got out, and that
Mavia
is
looks up at Rollick. Classic
why.
Aslan. So forthcoming with the things that are necessary to know! So this Cax is no longer inside of you.
No, she tore free, and it almost killed me.
Elaborate with details.
Before we even got to Aurora's Rest, I knew she was there. She'd made her presence known. I was losing control of myself. There are moments when I don't remember what happened. I would be in one place one moment and then somewhere else the next, and nothing in between. I made a deal with her.
The Teldal took over completely. You are meant to be the master of your ship. You know the stories when the Teldal overtake the Mastal. They don't come back.
I know.
We kill them because they don't come back.
That's partially why you're here. I was losing control. And I didn't want to hurt anyone.
Maldia sits back. Why? Why were you losing control? What was the problem?
I don't know. I mean, I wish I did. Really.
Have you done the things that you're supposed to be doing?
I've been trying.
Do you talk to it? Them, in your case? Your freaky ass case?
I talk to them, yes, and sometimes they don't fully agree with me and fight back.
It's natural. I had to make mine submit.
What happens if I lose that fight?
Then we are instructed to kill you as well.
Well, you know, luckily for you now, as far as I can tell, my bond has been torn into pieces.
Both of them look like you slapped them. What exactly is going on with you?
I would like to know the same, but I started off as an odd case to begin with, and there's not really any.
Do you think she's talking about before or after the bond?
Oh my god, I can hear you, you know.
That wasn't meant to be silent.
Look, I know you guys are here to take me back, but I can't go back yet.
Obviously. We know you won't go. I'd have to knock you out and shove you in a dimensional bag to get you to go. And then you'd rip the bag and half the ship apart halfway home.
I'm glad you know me so well.
Why do you think he sent us?
Yeah, because you know me so well.
Unfortunately.
You're here now, though. So, are you guys going to head back?
No.
Can our people help?
Our people will likely do what we always do. Hunker down, reinforce, make ourselves stronger.
You saw Aurora's Rest, though.
A place that was covered in ice became subjugate to fire.
What happens when our forests burn?
Exactly. They're going to try to make the forest as strong as possible, and you know they have ways. We are here with you. Despite what our common sense is telling us. Which I assure you is a sense you do not have, so you don't know what it sounds like. You have that effect on people and making them forget theirs as well.
Well, I'm glad to have some people who are familiar in the sense of home.
You're getting training.
Excuse me?
There wasn't a request.
What?
Until the moment you open fire and take your first swing at those heated bastards up north. You're stuck with us.
That's... my grandfather put you to this.
And Rollick leans down and smiles, like a big feline, mouthy smile. Your grandfather told me to push you harder when I suggested it. Told me I'd been too soft previously.
Okay.
We start with this. You say you speak to your bond. When?
Well,
How often? What do you say?
kind of hit or miss, and it's usually when we're either in the middle of getting our asses kicked or right after. We've been a little preoccupied. There hasn't been a lot of downtime to sit down and...
Imagine this, yes.
Yeah.
You have a friend. They've been with you your whole life. You only speak to them when the world goes to shit! What kind of a friend is that?
A really bad one.
And what kind of a friend have you been to your soul bond?
Not a very good one, I guess. I see your point.
Do you even know their names?
Does she?
You've never asked.
No.
Rollick straight up, like heavy chops you in the middle of the forehead, like.
Ah!
Training starts now. And Warden, or Protector, as you're looking for Yaslin at some point, like, kind of like turn down the hall and you see like Yaslin grabbed by the back of her collar, like being drugged down a hallway, one hand each by two of her Ptolemy friends, like kicking and like trying to resist. You're only going to make it worse.
I just, can you just, I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh shit. Pee on the training course.
What?
They just ignore all of your weak pleas.
Guess the crew won't be seeing Yaslin for a while.
You played hooky too much and now you need to actually apply yourself and you don't know how.
I know, right? Yaslin skipped a couple too many classes.
Right?
Classical Yaslin
And the,
style.
and the principal's hall monitors came to get you.
Yeah, it's like when you somehow the delinquent kid gets set up with like the OP teammate and you're like, what happened? How did this pairing happen? It's like probably shouldn't have. There's a foresight somewhere.
Mistakes were made.
Oops.
Okay. So, Protector, you're able to track Yaslin down at some point, and she is covered in blood and dirt and bruises, and her lips are split in like 3 different spots. She has a black
looks
eye. Her
fucking
nose is a little
rough.
her nose is a little crooked. She has been through the ringer, and like I'll say, Yaslin, are you guys staying on the ship, or is anybody not staying on the ship?
She stays on the ship.
Okay. So Protector, at some point, like, zombie Yaslin comes and like drags her butt back onto the ship, and you see her. She
As she's like
boards
ready
the
to go to
gale.
her room, she's like, going to my room. I'm fucking
Mhm.
sleeping for the next 10 hours. I'm taking 2 extra for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Yaslin.
I don't want. What is it?
So, hopefully this will be nice and quick. It looks like you've been having a rough day. Hopefully you went up in rank. Anyway, have you had the opportunity to talk with your cat friends?
Why, yes. Well, yes, I have. There's something you need.
Yes, actually. In the past, when we were talking about the revival of Margot, you mentioned that your people are quite medically savvy and might be able to bring her back from death. Well, she's already back from death.
Mm-hmm.
And it would seem as though their skills could be put to use in a different area. I was curious if your family, friends, amigos, pals would be willing to Oh, I don't know. Do a little bit of their revivification magic on somebody who is very important.
Excuse? Um. Uh, Yasmin's brain is processing and she's like dead on her feet, so she's like, her brain's like, what? I'm sorry. You want me to ask them to revive somebody else?
Yes. I mean, if they would have been able to revive Margot and there was nothing left of her, then I'm sure they could revive a corpse.
It's it's not it's not necessarily them, it's the resources my people have. We'd have to You'd have to go to the Tawny, and they're not the most, neighborly neighbors. Who was it that you wanted brought back?
A very important person who had a good head on his shoulders.
Okay. Like, maybe a little more that I could give them other than my bug friend wants to revive a very important person with a good head.
He was the previous champion of air.
And you didn't start with that.
Good response.
Yadlin's had give us the details, probably literally beaten into her
Like, it's
all
literally
day
been
long.
beaten into her all day, so now she's just like on autopilot.
She's like, give me the details.
I need the information. And no body.
Well, there is one. We would just have to go to a place that we probably shouldn't be at, or rather I shouldn't be at, and retrieve it back.
Okay.
Since we're fighting fire and, there's a whole war going on, I can only imagine how awesome it would be to have a champion of air that's a little bit more capable of a champion than I am. Eh? Pretty good, right? And I'm pretty sure, who was it? Cressida said she was going to pay for, like, most of the stuff and, like, health and all of the crew, or I don't remember what it was that she said she was going to pay. But we could do that.
Whatever you want to call yourself now. I've just gotten the shit beat out of me. Could we maybe talk? Could we do this in like 10 hours? I'll cut it down to 8.
That's a very specific amount of time.
Just need a nap. Maybe, okay. 2. Okay, I just need 2 hours to, like, feel like my whole body hasn't just been turned into fucking sand.
Well, it's just something to think about. We don't necessarily need to continue the conversation in the future. Just keep it in the back of your mind.
I will try. I will bring it up to them. Just know I can't make any guarantees. I'm not really in a position to pull favors right now.
Alrighty. Well, good luck with that nap and everything. If you need any healing magic, let the lady with the wings know.
The holy... I will see see you later. If anyone asks where I am, tell them I'm on the ship somewhere, and if it's not an emergency, they can fuck off.
Warden gives 4 thumbs up.
Yasmin like does like a peace and fucking gets on that ship and finds her room.
Mm-hmm. Yaslin, go ahead and take an inspiration for tell them they can fuck off. Okay. Haru, Thorak, anybody else that we've missed that needs a little stage time at the moment?
There's a few things for Dro. Arak. This is in the matter of the whole 3 days. Probably majority of the time just training, fighting. But
I'll come
also
and join him if he wants help.
that's kind of what I figured. A lot of sparring, but I think in his free time as well, he's kind of searching for these new people, but not making it like his primary goal. But when he does run by them, he's not communicating with them. He's more just studying them. So as they're going on doing their own thing, he's just kind of watching. So like if they're training, he's kind of off in the back just watching, or if there's communication or conversations that are happening between individuals, he probably would have clocked Yaslin get dragged away by the cat people. And it don't take a whole lot to be smart to realize to not get involved in that. Certain people he's going to look for more particularly is Margot, Lunith, and Haru.
Oh,
And
you're
just
looking for Haru?
not making it visible. Just as he sees them, he kind of watches them and studies them.
Haru? Unless somebody is intentionally looking for her, will not find her.
He probably gets pissed off
And
about
even
that.
then, it's no guarantee.
I think there's probably a few times he's actually physically searching and probably interrupted for a sparring session, and his attention goes to that. And then attending any meetings that he's needed at, if he's requested. If not, he's just doing that the 3 days. Dro can do a few things. One, among the 3 days, he's going to do some training in 3 different types of things. One, with focused on his water abilities, taking up the training that was offered for that. 2, as much as he hates it, probably training with Randar again in his terms of his teachings to enhance on those.
Randar is still an absolute beast, even with one missing arm.
Yeah, I figured. The third one is a hit or miss with who he trains with, because he wants to train his third eye. He wants to be able to have a better understanding of how it works. He will probably start with Randar to see if he has any advice. If not, then he would seek out Gesimus to see who he points to. And again, this is just in the matter of 3 days, so we don't have to go through all that if you don't want to.
Overall, Gesimus is incredibly hard to find.
Okay.
It's like trying to find just like trying to find the general during like war prep.
Yeah, I get you. Okay.
Yeah. With your time with Alabiadala, She says she's going to train you, and the first thing that she does is just ask you, what questions do you have? I know well enough not to ask if you have questions. So I want to know what you do have.
I guess the first is how do I feel comfortable using these powers? Because they have come in handy, but I feel at times it was more of an impulse rather than me physically triggering it. And something that seems, I would imagine, more simple in terms of communication with the one who gave me the power I can't even do unless I'm in desperate need.
Middle of your sentence, she launches a fireball at your, or a firebolt at your face. Just mid sentence. Just would you dodge?
Oh yeah, Joe immediately, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
PTSD from Margot.
Right. Firebolt, not a fireball.
He just sees fire.
Yeah, just fire. Just immediately dodge. Do you know, how do you react to her doing that?
Do you know a simple stop would have also done the trick?
Did you control that? Did you tell your body to move? Or was it an impulse?
I mean, if you've trained with Randar, you'd learn that as an impulse that is physically beaten into you.
So why is what your body does any different than the way you impulsively use this power that you've been given? It is a part of you. You have provided your body with enough training to use these abilities immediately in the right situation. Why is what you were given, and she gestures to your arm, any different than what you had developed on your own? And if I had that ability to give this power, and I gave it to someone else, would they use it like you do?
I think with this power, there is a level of confusion because the skills I've learned, I've grown up on, and I've had a innate connection to shadows as well. So that comes natural. And I think the knowledge or lack of understanding of this power in general is what confuses me on how to train this gift.
I believe you have a misunderstanding. What you have is not something external that you must wield. This is a matter of training your mind just as much as it is training a body. Think of it like this. Who will have a more easy time? 3 boys are given an axe. They are recruits. One boy picks up the axe and starts wildly swinging it around. One boy picks up a book, reading everything they can about the axe before they touch it. The other boy picks it up, looks at it, turns it over in their hand, tests the weight, tests the cutting edge. And they begin to slowly move it about, see how it feels in their arms. Connects with the axe and the weight of it through their whole body. What do you believe the difference between these 3 are?
Just kind of smile. Because the first word that comes to his mind is a word that Randar has told him numerous times, and that's patience. I'll kind of look up. I would say the third boy. Being patient. Not expecting results immediately, not expecting understanding, but also learning from experience and not just asking how to do it.
There is one small detail that you haven't covered as well. Intention and communication. He's not telling the axe what to do, at least not entirely. He's listening to what the axe is also telling him, and making adjustments accordingly. Have you listened to your own power yet?
There has been times I've asked for guidance and I've listened, and most of the time it was silence.
Ah, so you were the boy with the book.
As much as I hate to disagree, it sounds like it.
Water is, in my opinion, the most mischievous of elements. Of them all, it's the one that can be anything. It's the one that is most difficult to control. It has many forms. It has many aspects. Certainly you can put it in a pitcher, and it is contained. But move it even a little bit and it will rebel. It wants to be out. It wants to be free. It wants to move and glide and be as wily as possible. It has a sense of humor. It is serious. It is bland. It is many things at any given time, and all of them none of the time. Walks by and kind of pats her shoulder with her hand. Think on that before you try anything else. Listen to how it feels. It is
Okay.
not allowed. You don't have to try to make it one thing. There are moments for everything. Even depth. And she exits the room.
Okay. Listen. Not my strong suit.
Said everybody on this team. Let me see, do we have any good listeners on the team? Maybe Cressida?
Haru's good at listening.
I was gonna say maybe Haru. Cressida, if you get her on a tangent, she's just gonna go.
Listen,
Right? That's
she
fine.
just went on a little like ADHD tism tangent. Other than that, she's pretty good.
Yeah, Haru's a good listener. She just doesn't talk, so it doesn't feel like she's a good listener.
Well, I mean, listen. The information goes in and it doesn't go out, so.
Exactly. Okay. Dro, you get your monk training with Randar. He mostly just focuses on polishing up the moments when you're sloppy. And the last one, your best bet with the eye as you kind of go around. Roll me a d6.
That's a 1.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
You're not sure how, but you eventually come across somebody who nah, not done yet.
Yet. Oh, great. Oh, lovely.
You kind of come around a corner, like bump into this guy, and it's like, sorry. Say a couple of things. One, you seen that black fella you brought along?
Are you talking about Black Moon?
No. That he's his own bucket of creepy crawlies. No, your friend. Pyramid. Herbert, that one.
Seamus?
Yes. That's what you said. If you see him, I'd like to talk to him.
May I ask about what exactly?
We have a mutual acquaintance. And she bade me to say hello when she said if I were to ever run into him. And I heard he's around.
Insight check.
Go for it.
Uh, 14.
14. You have no idea with this guy. This dude is like a total like enigma figure. You do not understand what makes this guy tick. Gives you general heebie-jeebies.
He's probably around here somewhere, most likely making some deals here and there or strategizing for this up and coming fight. But if I see him, I will let him know.
Lovely. Just tell him Tillis says hello. And that I have information from someone I'm fairly certain he would like to know about.
I will pass your message along.
Lovely. Oh, by the way, why do I keep hearing about you standing in the mirror, staring?
First off, what?
Never mind. Guess you've never done that. I wouldn't know.
He just kind of looks around. Okay. Question. What is the height of this person compared to Dro?
Kind of short. Like he's like 5'7", 5'6".
Okay.
But he looks like tall and lean, but really it's just he's got like a long, skinny frame, but he's not tall.
Just kind of look at him. Is there anything else I can help you with besides passing a message to Seamus?
No. Is there anything I can do to help you? I hear you're an important key piece to what's coming up. Mr. Champion.
Still not used to being called that. I know nothing about this guy.
Give me a history check.
Oh boy. $15.
15. Okay. Based on like his presence here and the time you're spending here and whatnot, and you know that not everybody in Aurora's Rest enjoys the vibrant, colorful scene. Sometimes there's introverts that want to get away from all the intensity that Aurora's Rest offers and kind of shoves down everybody's throat. You've heard of this guy's reputation and gotten a few more details on him as you've been around here over the course of several days. Tillis owns a club in the entertainment district. or at least it did. And it's all dark. It's called The Moor, and it's a club where it's essentially a gothic club to get away from the vibrant city. It's a respite for those who don't want to be near the color and the holy crap pretty anymore.
Kind of recalling that. I see why you might know Seamus.
I don't. But someone else does.
Yeah, I got a feeling you and him will get along very well. I guess shot in the dark, and we've been here for a few days, so I'd imagine you've met people, communications, and your skills that I surely know what they are. I am actually in the process of looking for somebody to train with. But not really a typical hand-to-hand combat or magic, I don't think. We touched on it a little bit in that meeting about how a few of us had encountered some very, very corrupted magic.
Man, you like to beat around the bush. What do you want?
Do you know anybody around here that could help with this? And he'll pull up his headband.
Triclops. Monkey.
Sure.
First time I've heard about a Triclops in the Roy's Rest, though. Not a native type.
Wasn't born with it.
Quite. What's it do? Does it do? You want to train it, so I assume it does something.
That's what I'm trying to fully understand. From the few times I've used it, it's like I can see auras.
No. This is gonna be fun.
In his
Most
head,
people... What's that?
in his head, Joe was thinking, why the hell do I get in these situations?
Because you're older one. Being in the entertainment industry sounds like a fun bag of laughs. But there's a lot of nuance to it that most people don't expect or appreciate. One of which is emotional readings, body language, facial expressions, auras, a person's gait, what they wear, what they order, what words they choose to say and what they don't, who their company is. To be a master entertainer is to know them more than they know themselves. I can help.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
And yet, you'll accept, won't you?
It's not the first bad decision I've made.
Sure, it won't be the last. Come on, chum.
Just to put the headband on and just...
Okay.
There is something after, too.
Okay. He, as odd as this dude is, he really is impeccable with controlling his own emotions, his own body. He's like a blank slate to like you trying to read him through your insight or your knowledge or even your eye. Like compared to your friends who none of them really specialize in anything like aura related, emotions related, things like that. You've seen kaleidoscopes, you've seen hazy clouds, you've seen a whole gamut of things from your friends as you've used this ability. And on him, you see a thin white line and a thin black line as like a perfect silhouette of his body. And it is incredibly stable. And he sits there and basically just plays different theater style games with you. And like stuff like, and like he'll do stuff like 20 questions back and forth. And the idea is to get as personal and as bothersome as possible so that you can hopefully tell when something in his aura changes and whatnot. And he basically is like trying to give you an extremely solid baseline so that you can start to notice the extreme minutia of when things do start to change. Cool. And that's basically how the training session with him will end up going. At first, he just kind of seems like he's a crazy pants. And then, a little over time, you start to see what he means. And especially with like moments where he's playing questions and he asks you something and he like asks you something that you are like, you have a small twinge to, and then he just like drives in immediately and like makes you very like disrupted. And you can start to see that emotional attention can be almost weaponized. But knowing that could also help shore your own up. Okay. What else before the march begins, guys?
Over matter of days, I think Joe would just gear up.
Yeah.
Get new gear, which hopefully by next session, Joe will have an updated artwork.
Yes. So anybody who wants to, you guys are able to get like new basic gear. You can update your clothing and whatnot for this current arc and get all fancy and whatnot.
I have a question about that. Like when you say updating gear, how are we doing that? How are we tracking? Like if we want to go increase our armor, how's that working?
If you guys have base,
And
if there's non-magical stuff you want to get, just go ahead and pay the gold cost because it's available. If there is magical stuff, shoot me a message and we'll chat about it.
Okay.
Maybe Koilak will give you a snake brain ring.
There's a couple things I want to talk to you about on. Well, we can do that later.
Sounds good.
The only other thing, if it works, and how timing lined up, because I imagine Joe would be training, having a lot of this throughout the day, and towards the end, trail in at the very end conversation of Protector and Yazlin. And as he enters the door, all he hears from Yazlin is, "If it's not an emergency, tell them to fuck off." And Joe's gonna walk up, just stand in the doorway as she walks out, look at Protector. I imagine you're supposed to tell me to fuck off, right?
You should probably make the very wise decision to fuck off.
Just kind of watches Yazlin walks away for a minute. She have her conversation she's been avoiding?
I would assume so. I saw her getting dragged around a little bit and happened to stop by the arena, just following them for no reasons whatsoever. And, yes, there was a little bit of ass kicking.
I heard you guys were starting to have a conversation till I very blatantly heard her say she's going to sleep, which from experience I've learned do not wake her. Is everything okay?
Oh, everything's just swell.
How drunk is Protector right now?
Tipsy.
Dro,
Shit, hard. Talk with.
Tro just thinking about the weird training he just had. And he's going to play it off with kind of adjusting his headband and maybe taking it off and adjusting it. And when he asks if everything's okay, he's going to try to read Warden,
Okay.
taking this as a little training session.
Go ahead and give me a perception check. Or insight.
That's a 25.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much an automatic success because Protector has absolutely no idea that you're doing it, so there's no deception happening. Oh, what colors would they be? Warden's kind of default color tends to be that kind of blue hue that we had discussed back at the courthouse. And I think that it's still a blue hue, but it's kind of mixed with yellow, making a strange bluish green.
How erratic does his aura look? And Dro asks the words, "Is everything okay?"
It's kind of flashy. I wouldn't say it's absolutely crazy, like darting between colors, but there is almost uncertainty in the colors.
Okay. Fair enough. They'll play off putting his headband back on. I'm feeling a little bit sore as well. I had a training session with Randar, and you, from experience, have seen how those go. And then I was told there's another to be quiet and I will learn stuff. So I'm going to go attempt to do that. I don't know what to expect.
So, where are people staying on the ship? Because you have a room with 2 beds, a room with 2 beds, and then a room with 1 bed, and then various couches.
Dro is going to make it a point because this is something I'm familiar to him. He's going to find the place where he feels comfortable, and that's near Yaslin.
Oh,
Please.
Yaslin, what room are you in
Oh shit.
for this map?
Gosh, is there actually a map?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look. Let's see.
Wherever he goes, he's being as quiet as can be to not wake her.
The big room on the second floor is Protectors.
Yes,
That one.
no one's allowed in there. Unless you sneak in there and he doesn't know. He has
Very
made it
not
very clear
pleasant
to
move,
anyone who's
right?
ever aboarded the ship that's my room.
Oh shit. Literally? Well, she said do not disturb me unless it's an emergency. So she probably picked this room off of a whim of it's one bed, no one else is walking in here. Assumedly. And if they are, she's gonna tell them to fuck right off.
If she wakes up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, go ahead and put your character token on whatever bed you've got. We'll call visual dibsies here. And I'll throw everybody else on the map.
Is that in Protector's space there?
There's 2 Cressidas now.
This is up here.
Oh, there is 2
Oh,
Cressidas?
Yeah,
Got it.
I've got the northernmost room, and then you've got this kind of hallway that leads down into the storage area. So this kind of western room.
Cressida would
It's not connected.
welcome Delphine to share a room with her.
Did I put Definitely on the map? There we go. Okay.
He's just
Wherever
Lunith.
Haru
Welcome,
sleeps,
Lunith.
who
Sure,
knows?
not that.
Who knows where Haru is?
Haru's just meditating on top of the ship.
She's somewhere.
So I rolled for it for Margot, and I rolled a 2. So I think if anyone looks for her, she can't sleep unless she's in a secure location hidden, because that's how she survived for the last several years in the dream plane. So she's found a
Oh
little
my
nook
gosh,
behind boxes on the floor where she just has a bedroll, and she's just literally sleeping on the floor, hiding, because she doesn't know how else to sleep, and she barely sleeps.
You know, the really funny thing is Haru probably stumbles upon her at some point, because Haru is the person who tries to find the place that has the nobody will go here.
They came to about the same conclusion.
So the reason Dro's doing this is he hates being quiet. He hates silence. It brings back memories. So he is told to listen. But he's going to do it somewhere where he feels comfortable, and just knowing Yaslin's nearby. He's going to silently go there. He's going to pull the sword off his back and set it down. Pull the bowl of water out. The closest thing he's going to get to water. And he's just going to listen. He's going to meditate. He's going to picture himself in a very kind of similar to when him and Margot saw that crystal with the Kieran, where everything seemed calm.
Yeah.
Almost where it's like a body of water he's sitting on, just still, empty, and he's just listening, meditating, and just for once shutting up.
Okay. Okay. Haru, Delphine, Thorak. Anything else for you guys? I love that Seamus is just upside down, near the pantry.
I think Delphine would have just trained with Thorak whenever he asked, and then attended team meetings as necessary, as required. Updated her squad leader on what's going on, all that. She would have been part of the planning process for both the assault and the infiltration.
Sounds good.
Do we know who's on what team? Was that discussed?
I think we did discuss it. I don't remember it off the top of my head at this moment. And for Thorak and Delphine, the two of you have essentially been assigned as the liaisons with this group at this point. Like, yes, you have important roles in your squad, but you figured that, or essentially you were instructed, like, be near them. Information might come up that they don't realize is necessary for the operation. And so you are gathering intel. You are supposed to be strategizing with them, training with them, trying to fold them into the forces that you can utilize on the assault and in the infiltration mission.
Mhm.
So,
It's gonna go great.
so not necessarily like spy level here, but like do your best to like absorb them for what's going on. Okay, anything else for you guys?
Haru actually would find Warden for a short little chit chat about something.
Warden is pretty much always on the ship. He's either sitting at this table right here and working. He's preparing food and whatnot for people. He's cleaning the ship. He's hardly ever actually in his room.
I think she approaches him kind of quietly, but makes her presence known, kind of like a cough. Protector, right?
Yes.
I was just wondering what tea that is that you're drinking.
It depends.
I have never seen tea do that to somebody before.
Well, it does not normally do that to other people. It's something quite unique to being a bug person. We 3 green are not very resistant to caffeine.
May I try some? This is like all suddenly clicking out of character. I'm like, why didn't I see this? So fucking fun.
How long ago did we introduce Warden, and we've been able to keep this under wraps for like what, 3 months now?
Yeah, it's been a hot second.
It's been so. I've like resisted waiting. I've been resisting like spoiling this for so long.
I think one of my favorite moments is when he's in the monastery and walks over. He asks for tea, walks over to a teapot and drinks that, and then we go into the battle, and he's like a little bit tipsy during the battle.
And we all just think he's been drinking alcohol. It's like,
He's been spiking all of his tea.
Yep.
do you mind if I tried?
Well, of course. He's going to lead you into the pantry area. Now, I won't let you have my secret stash. And believe me, there's quite a few stashed around here. But he opens a cabinet, and it is absolutely filled with every type of tea that you can imagine.
Holy shit, this is like Haru's like little paradise. She's like, she looks really kind of happy to see all this tea.
Personally, if you're looking to feel the effects the strongest, I recommend black teas.
Well, a cup of whatever you suggest. Surprise me.
Well, I think this could be quite a surprise. Morgan, is there any... Because I don't want to be like, oh yes, yellow tea from China or something like that.
Yellow tea from
Where the hell did this come from? I don't know. Found it after
Pull
our
it out of
draft
your
closed.
butt.
Yeah.
Are there any regions that have very strong black teas?
Yes. You guys are in North Bordea. Essentially the exact opposite end of the world. Or North Bordea is northeast, but southwest there is another continent. And it is mostly dry. It is a little bit like the Australian outback, where it is deserty, but there's also like a very tough, thriving ecosystem there. And some of the most intense teas can come from that area of the world because there's so little water that there's a heavy concentration. The Zuni giraffe just arrived at my house. That would be the puppy Great Dane.
Very well. Warden will begin to make a tea from that specific area and very nicely, neatly put it into a teacup. Probably a very high-end, beautiful-looking teacup with a small little bowl on the plate for sugar and a tiny, tiny little cup that has some form of milk in it. Then he'll hand it over to you and say, in case you want it black, then you can have it like this, but you can add as much sugar or milk as you would like. I tend to never run out of those, so.
I think she takes the cup from him and just sips it straight. She adds nothing to it because that would definitely ruin the tea's flavor, as it is meant to be.
You receive brownie points. In the top right corner of your screen, it says Protector liked that.
Why ruin a good tea with sugar and spice?
Protector goes ahead and pours out probably about a quarter cup for himself, and he says, I could not agree more. This tea from this very interesting continent, very warm place, big fucking spiders that make like funnel web things, disgusting. But it is very warm, uncomfortable, some strange other animals about. This is called Jigo D. I feel like that's a good enough pronunciation. Probably not. Oh, you're muted.
I was thinking jiggity.
Oh, jiggity. Jiggity tea.
But actually, now that I say that out loud, it sounds like giggity. So no, we're not going to go with that.
It's giggity tea. I gotta get myself some giggity tea real quick.
Yes.
Never mind. We can keep the name of the tea, but I'm not naming the continent that. So yeah, it's giggity tea. Because
This is
giggity tea is too freaking good.
Jiggity tea that happens to be from a small village in that continent. A very obscure village that not many people happen to go to. Because the name itself is very strange to write down on a map. But I believe at one point I either took somebody there or I took somebody back from there to somewhere else. I don't know half the time. Anyways, they gave me a nice supply of this, along with a good amount of money.
Seamus somewhere on the ship wakes up.
There it is.
Did somebody say money?
Money? You've
has been
awoken
summoned.
the beef. I think I won't ask any further questions on potentially how you got that money. But I do appreciate you sharing your tea with me. Might your supplies be something I can borrow from every once in a while?
Of course, feel free to help yourself whenever you'd like. As I said, I have a couple more stashes about, so I'm not too worried about this cabinet running out.
Wonderful. Thank you. She finishes her tea. I should probably go find myself somewhere to rest for a while.
Yes, there are plenty of places. Feel free to make yourself comfortable. Just not my room. That's my room.
Which room?
You go up the stairs in the storage area, and then right next to the staircase, to the I suppose that would be left. To the left of the staircase, there is a door that leads into a rather big room. I mean, I guess you can't tell because there's a wall surrounding it and a door closing. Anyways, the door immediately next to the staircase is my room.
Of course. Well, I will avoid your room. And she excuses herself to find the least habitable place.
Honestly, the space that probably has the least amount of like activity and stuff of it in it, and just because her kind of animal nature is probably under the big conference table.
Oh, this this fucking wonderful. But there's all these crates. Are these crates actually like in this ship?
Half the time, the answer is no. Actually, most of the time, the answer is no. In this case, Warden's ship is being prepped for as a war mule. So, yes, it has tons and tons of like supplies and whatnot in it right now.
Alright.
It's not completely full, but it look like, you know, day by day they're adding more.
Gosh, yeah, that fucking table. I don't think she quite yet like goes underneath that table. Because that looks a little suspicious. But she definitely just like sits herself in a chair and watches people going by.
That's good.
Unless other party members do something, that conference room is hardly ever used. Because you can just talk in the cockpit. There's plenty
Yeah,
of
why
chairs
go
in
to
there.
the conference room when there's the main viewing docks?
Right. So you guys have kind of time to yourselves, kind of on and off throughout the 3-day period. You are involved in the tactical sessions. You are involved in the strategization, and kind of at the end of the 3rd day, Ingen comes up and knocks on the back of the ship. All right. You've got about 4 more hours. And we're heading out, flying as far north as our ships can take us. We're marching from there. This is the time to back out if you're not interested. And if you are, this is the time to gear up, collect your thoughts, finalize any methods you've been working on. This one's gonna be rough. I'd like to be optimistic here, but I don't see any way where what we see up there is going to be pretty. What we have to do is going to be pretty. Steal your minds. Fight with everything you got and come back alive. I'll bake you
Ludith.
damn cookies if you do.
Ludith kind of stirs and shifts uncomfortably as he says alive.
In one piece.
It means all of your arms.
I think Margot still looks very tired. For anybody who's noticed over the last few days, she sleeps like the barest of bare minimums to count for a long rest. And then she just wanders around the ship for the rest of the night.
At some
Okay.
point, Haru will have a conversation with Margot.
Yeah.
Maybe not tonight, though.
I feel like
So
there's
after that point, there's been plenty of hustle and bustle over the last few days, and it just gets like frantic and like almost mayhem as every ship is loaded to the gills with its carrying capacity. You guys have a ton of cargo. You are also inundated with probably another 20 different soldiers on your ship as well. And everything is moving out. The several different squad leaders, lots of ships that came from Final Fletch, plenty of ships that are inside of Allegory that are native to it. Everybody begins to get up and launch, and one of the last things you see from as you're like flying away is Gesimus like standing at the edge of the port, like waving and like giving salutations to like everybody who's going off. And you guys know that his job is not to fight this time. It's to go try and rally everybody else to fight while you guys are away. And you guys begin to fly over the mountains at a slow pace. And eventually you see off in the distance, you see ripples in the air. What should be colorful is instead dull. Like strands of sand dipped in ash and dragged on the ground. The once vibrant city of Aurora's Rest. Its colorful halo is set in murk as you have to descend partway into the mountains because the instruments on the ship just simply will not function anymore. The magical disturbance in the air and the temperature, both again creating that no-fly zone, and one by one, different ships begin to settle down, probably about halfway up the mountains. And it is time to begin the trek. And that is where we will end for tonight. As you guys open the doors, the wind and snow begins to blow into the into the cargo bay. Ships or soldiers and couriers and whatnot, people start grabbing cargo, distributing it, and it is full go mode. As you guys look up the slope, and you see darkness and black touched snow. Even this far away, there is a near steady sheen of black powdered carbon on top of the white snow. And as you guys begin to take steps and see other people walk around, that black top is like reduced down into a footprint that is just pure white on the sides. But it does leave a bit of streaking on the edges as well. And the march to Battle at Aurora's Rest begins.